Hello and welcome to the Not So Late Night Darts Show powered by HYLO. Thank you to each and every one of you who's joining us tonight for this hour of darts and other hopefully quite entertaining topics. Obviously, if you've been with us before, you know that we like to be a tad interactive in this show. So we like to get you involved in a couple of polls. We like you to ask our players a couple of questions tonight. So if you want to do that, feel free to raise your virtual hand, and you can do that towards the bottom of your screen. There's that function where you can raise your hand, and then I know that you want to ask Luke or Chris a question, and I will get you involved later on. And it is my absolute pleasure to welcome tonight on the show two of the most exciting young talents of the PDC: UK Open finalist, former World Youth Champion Luke Humphries, and the number 23 of the world, former two-time major semi-finalist Chris Dobey. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. How have you been doing the last couple of days since the Super Series, Luke? I mean, you've been to a final. Must have been a good feeling.
Yeah, it's been a couple of good weeks for me. Obviously, I didn't really have the best of back ends of last year, so it was important for me to come back this year and do some good things. And I made one final, then another one came along 10 days later. So yeah, I'm in some good form at the moment, and I'm enjoying it.
Really looking good, certainly. Chris, for you, it's been top 16 at Players Championship 1. It's been top 16 at the UK Open. Apart from that, how would you assess your year so far?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm still a bit dizzy from looking at Luke's shirt there. But it's just been up and down as usual. The back end of last year, I turned to get some decent results and performing like I can. But this year, I've started it quite the same as last year, and it just hasn't been good enough. So now there's a lot to improve, but there was some positives to take. So hopefully, it gets better in the few weeks coming.
Yeah, for you, Chris, it's been like, I mentioned two-time major semi-finalist in 2019. You've been to the semi-final of the Players' Championship finals and the World Grand Prix. And sort of that was the moment when everyone thought, oh, he's going to push on from here. But last year has been particularly difficult for you, really.
Yeah, I think it's been difficult for all of us, to be fair. So I've got no doubt about it that I can come back from that. It's just everybody goes through a blip, and it was just last year. Obviously, I said before, it's the same for everybody. So I've just got to plod through this, and I've put an extra little bit of time on the practice board, and hopefully it pays off. Luke does exactly the same, and I think it's paid off a lot. Obviously, getting a little word from Michael Van Gerwen helped as well, because he absolutely obliterated him in the quarterfinal. So I think I might have to touch on that like Luke did.
I think that was the exact word that James Wade used actually for Luke's match against MVG. I mean, Luke, that match against Michael, I mean, everyone who saw that was mightily impressed by what you did there. Was that the best that you've ever played? Certainly on telly, anyway.
I mean, a lot of people was pretty shocked about the game against Michael. Personally, myself, I wasn't that shocked. I know I'm capable of playing in them sort of games. I think it was about 2 months ago before that in the Players' Championship finals. I played pretty much the same against Jermaine Wattimena. It wasn't obviously over the best of 21 legs, but it was over the best of 11. And I am capable of these big games, but I'm also capable of the games that I don't really turn up as well as I should. So yeah, obviously to play, in my opinion, still the best player in the world. I know he's not number one, but still the best player in the world. To beat him the way I did was quite spectacular, and it'd be one of them games that I'll always remember.
And you didn't beat him on an off day, did you? I mean, he was playing well, and anyway, you just pulled it off there.
Yeah, I mean that's more aesthetically pleasing, because if he would have sort of thrown a 95 average in another 111.5, it would have been, I beat Michael when he was off his game, but I think his average was 106, and that just proves I've really dispatched one of the best players in the world when he was playing at his best, and that I think that's what sort of took everyone back, because my finishing and my scoring was just better than his, and we all know how well he can score and finish himself. So it's one of them games where I feel like I've got to replicate it a bit more than I do. But I know that'll come over time, and I'm still relatively new to the tour. This is my 4th year, I think. So, if you're doing beating players like that early on in your career, you can only progress and get better.
I mean, Chris, you mentioned earlier, you said that it's up and down with you as usual. I mean, that consistency. 2 weeks ago, I had Max Hopp on the show, and he said it as well. I can play anything from an 85 to 115, really. But it's that getting that consistency, and that's the key, really, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Consistency wins you a lot of games. There's times, I think it was two years ago maybe, where the full weekend, I think my lowest average was something like 103, and you think, why can't I play like that all the time? But that's just not the case. Everybody's the same. They can throw low 80 averages and then have high 100 averages. It's just all about getting that consistency right, and it's not going to be there all the time. You've just got to keep plugging away, and I think practicing like an extra few hours a day helps a lot, but it's still hard to get that consistency there all the time when you need it. So yeah, I'm hoping that I can find a little bit more consistency than I have done in the past, and hopefully start picking up these results on the floor as well, because I think that's where I'm lacking. I think Luke will say exactly the same. As soon as you get that flow game right, we know we can play on the stage and in front of all these fans when they get back. So it's about getting the flow game right before we'll lift up onto the rankings, go up the ranking.
Chris, you're already getting support from the chat there. Someone Fabio just put in there, away the lad, Chris. Yeah, so you're getting your support there. He doesn't have the shirt on, but the support's there surely. I mean, look, the last time that I think we saw each other in person was at Ali Pali, shortly before your match against Paul Lim, and I think you mentioned at the UK Open how long that match played on your mind. I mean, the first round match, you were 2-0 up against Paul, and then you lost it by 2-3.
Yeah, it was a strange game because, building up to the World Championships, I was practicing really well, actually. The darts were going as good as they had done in practice, and I felt really good going into it. But I know it might sound like a sorry excuse, but the day I woke up, it just didn't feel right for me. I just didn't feel as comfortable as I usually do when I play on the TV. And I know that, like I said, it's an easy excuse to make, but I did. And then obviously went into the 2-0 lead, and I know I wasn't playing very well at all still, but I just felt like, I could still scrape through the game. And then when he started coming back at me, taking out some good doubles, his scoring got better. I just didn't have that fight in me. And usually I have. I think that's something I've implemented in my game in the last couple of years. But yeah, I just didn't have that fight. And I maybe to do with the crowds not being there, they can boost you and stuff, but they probably wouldn't have been on my side, to be fair. But, just having them there would have helped. But 6 weeks off after that, it plays on your mind a lot. It definitely played on mine. Quite a lot, to be honest. I didn't want to pick up a dart for 3 to 4 weeks. It hurt quite a lot because I had a lot of good memories at the World Championships, and then all of a sudden, you get that real bad memory, and you feel like, well, there's only one way here. You either let it affect you and you go down, or you fight back and you go up. And it shows a bit of testament to my character that I've gone the right way and gone upwards since that game. And it might have just made me more hungry in a way. And I couldn't have started off this year any better if I'd have tried.
I mean, certainly talking about fighting back, I think it was in 2019 after a match against James Wade at the German Darts Open in Jena, when you came forward and you spoke about a bit of anxiety on the stage, really, and that was really bothering you. So I think it was particularly pleasing for everyone, really, to see you doing so well at the UK Open, and it seems to be under control now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was something that I obviously implemented in my personal life at the start. Of getting uncomfortable feelings in my chest and stuff, and I obviously got checked out and everything's fine. But it was, when you're up on the big stage and you're in positions against these really good players, I think I spiked you up. My heart started racing really fast, and I'd experienced these things off the stage. Now I was experiencing them on the stage. I went in a little panic mode, and I was obviously, a lot of people that know about anxiety and panic. I did panic, and I lost control. Even though I had shots to win, they were more darts, please go in, instead of my usual, this is going in sort of attitude. So yeah, obviously it wasn't a great time for me, but since that day, I thought I've got to do something about it, and I went and seek sort of help that I needed. And it seems to have worked. I don't really get them sort of feelings on stage anymore. And if I do, I know how to control them, to work through them. And, it's just a progressive thing. I'm still learning with my anxiety every day, I still get it. It's just not as bad, and I've learned to control it a lot more. And I'm in a much better place with it all.
Chris, Luke mentioned after he sort of came forward with that in 2019, a couple of players actually told him that they know the feeling and that they're experiencing similar things. I mean, darts, as mentally challenging as it is, it can put you into really, really bad places on a stage, can't it?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, I think the majority of them will see exactly the same. They've been in those kind of positions where I'm one of the ones that can't say that because I've never touched on. You know, you do feel nerves and you have these kind of like I say hot sweats, but I can't say I've had that experience. But there is quite a few players that have said exactly the same as Luke, and obviously they know what to do in those kind of circumstances. And yeah, fair play for them for coming out and telling everybody about it, you know. But I'm not one of those that has been there and witnessed anything like that. So fingers crossed it doesn't happen to myself, and hopefully the lads plough through it and get on to do great things.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, two of the most exciting young talents on the show tonight. So there's always that question about young players, about new players. Do they have it in them to win a world championship? So what we're doing on this show is we're always doing a couple of polls, so getting our viewers involved. And I want to ask them, what do you think? Who is most likely going to win the world championship in the future? And I've put a couple of names down here, and I'm very curious about what our fans have got to say. I don't think that. Well, let's see. So it's Michael Smith, Dimitri Vandenberg, Nathan Espinel, Joe Cullen, Chris Dobey, Jeffrey de Swan, Luke Humphries, and Max Hopp. And I'm curious actually what our fans say. Who is most likely to pick up a world title in the future? I think, guys, for me in my mind, there's like two groups of players. They're the ones that go like, you know, I play darts to make a living, to support the family, and they're the ones that are like, I play because I want to be world champion at some point. I want to be world number one. So I'm curious, Luke, which group do you belong to?
Without a shadow of doubt, trophies. You know, obviously that is probably the right thing to say because it sounds right. You know, if I said I'm in it for the money, you know, it'd sound wrong, but it is true. You know, in my opinion, you play for trophies and the money comes with it. So, you know, that my goal is to win not just majors but world titles. Because as much as I walk away from the game maybe in 30 years' time with 10 major titles, if I don't have that world title, I don't think I'd be ecstatically pleased about the way it got. Obviously, I'd still be happy with the career I'd had. But for me, you know, if you don't get that world title, which I feel like I can get one day, I don't think I would be happy with my career. And I know that's sort of being too harsh on myself, but, you know, you've got to aim high. And for me, I think this game is all about winning and winning titles because it's a greater feeling than anything in the world. You know, that you could offer me any money in the world to stop playing darts and I wouldn't take it because I just love it so much. And, you know, we're a bunch of people that are lucky to do what we do as a living. And we're very blessed. So yeah, obviously, you know, the money is brilliant in darts, but, you know, winning titles means more to us than anything. I think, you know, most people will say that or should say that because it's true. I think that winning feeling, there's nothing better in the world than that winning feeling or playing up on a big stage.
Surely. I mean, if I was you, I would take 10 major titles. Actually, I would take that any day.
Well, I'll take it. I just want the world.
So Chris, what was it like for you? I mean, when you started getting into the game, was that something that was like in your head initially, or did that come as you progressed and became better? Sort of.
To be honest, obviously the money's great, but when I've came through a tough school, like from being from the Northeast, you know, it's all about winning things up in the Northeast. It wasn't about the money. It was all about who's won this, who's won that, you know, and it is nice to win quite a lot in the Northeast. So if I could do half of what I've done in the Northeast on the PDC circuit, I'd happily take it. But like Luke said, you've got to aim high and have high hopes. And yeah, hopefully one day I'll get my hands on that world title and it'll be probably the best thing ever. You know, obviously you've got to take the money along with it, but to get that trophy, it'll be great.
All right, guys, let's have a look at what our viewers said here. I'm going to show you the results of our first poll. So with 34%, Dimitri Vandenberg, people think is going to pick up the world championship at some point, followed by Joe Cullen, who's doing particularly well at the present time. Then is Luke with 19%. And Nathan at 13, Michael Smith at 9. And towards the bottom of the pack, then Chris and Max at 2%.
That was Chris's mum as well that voted for him.
It was me.
Well, someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it. But you beat Jeffrey de Swan, so that worked out well there. So now we heard our fans' opinion, and now we want to get our first two fans into the mix to ask a question to either Luke or Chris. So let's get Henrik into the discussion, and very curious what he has got to ask our two stars of the night. He should be with us in a second.
Henrik Larsson, what a player.
Possibly. So there we go. We should hear Henrik now. Hi, Henrik. Where are you joining us from tonight? Where are you watching from?
From Berlin.
From Berlin. Hi there, mate. Are you doing okay?
Yes.
Good stuff. So what's your question? To Chris or to Luke?
Ich würde es gerne auf Deutsch stellen.
Gar kein Problem. Frag gerne auf Deutsch und dann übersetze ich.
Ja, ich wollte die beiden fragen, wer sie denken, gewinnt die Jugend-WM dieses Jahr, weil es gibt ja jetzt auch viele junge Spieler auf der Tour, zum Beispiel Adam Gavlas und auch weitere.
Yeah. So Chris, Henrik has got a very interesting question, as I think. Who do you think is going to win the World Youth Championship this year? Because there are a couple of really interesting young players coming through. He just mentioned Adam Gavlas, who got his tour card as well from the Czech Republic. So is there someone that you think is going to do well?
Yeah, of course. Callan Rids. I've got to back the local lad. I've practiced with him quite often, and he's got huge potential. And unfortunately for myself, he's picked up a PDC title before I have, and he's thrown high averages on the tour. And if he can take that into the youth tour, I think he'll be hard to beat.
Surely. So Henrik, also Callan Ritz steht ganz oben auf der Liste von Chris Dobey. And I think Luke has just come back as well. Luke, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Good stuff, pal. So the question that Henrik asked, you're an expert to ask there because, you're a former World Youth Champion. Henrik wanted to know, what do you think? Who is going to win the World Youth Championship this year? Because there are a lot of, interesting young players coming through.
Yeah, see, it's a tough question to ask because there's so many good young players around. And, obviously, you'd have to say the favourite is you, Chris said, Callum Ridge would probably be the number one choice because of how well he's playing and how well he's scoring and stuff. But, there is a couple, I wouldn't rule out Bradley Brooks again. Obviously, I know that he's been there and done it. And obviously, I didn't get my chance to go out and try and win it a second time. So I wouldn't rule out Bradley Brooks as well. But, there's a lot of players out there that could do it. Young Louis Williams as well. He's seems to be playing all right at the moment. So,
yeah.
For me, my choice would definitely be Callum Ridds. I think that, or Ted Evans. I think, in my opinion, I'd love to see Ted win it out of everybody because he's had one of them sort of development careers like me, where you dominate quite a lot and then you don't feel complete if you don't have that World Youth title. So for me, if I could choose someone to have it, it would be Ted because I think he deserves it from being the best development tour player in the last 5 years. But, like Chris said, I think you can't look past Callan at the moment, the way he's playing.
And Ted is just a very nice chap as well. Also Henrik, auch Luke sagt, dass man wahrscheinlich an Callan Ritz nicht vorbeikommt. Aber man muss natürlich auch die Augen offen halten. Ted Evans, der auf der Development Tour großartig gespielt hat, die letzten Jahre da der beste Spieler gewesen ist. Also auch den hat Luke Humphries da auf der Liste. Henrik, vielen Dank, dass du eine Frage gestellt hast.
Ja, danke auch.
Gar kein Problem und viel Spaß noch beim Rest der Show. Mach's gut, mein Lieber. Ciao.
Ja, tschüss.
So that was Henrik, and I think we've got time for someone else, and we're going to go for Lucas Radeby.
Hey.
Lucas Radeby. Hey, don't start with the lead stuff.
So here we go. Lucas. We should hear him in a second. There we go. Hi there, Lucas. How are you doing, pal?
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you.
Hello, mate.
very nice to talk to you. What's your question, and who would you like to ask it to?
I try my best to ask in English. I hope you you understand what I'm talking about.
Sounds good to me.
Perfect. I have a question to Luke and Chris, if it's okay, about concentration and nervousness, because as a neutral spectator, you really don't see whether you are nervous or not. And my question is, how do you manage to keep your nervousness under control in such matches? Because I think there must be matches where you're more nervous than usual. Do you have tips on how to turn off your head better, and to what extent do fans influence your nervousness?
So if I'm going to take notes here, I'm very interested in that as well. So Chris, if you want to go first.
Yeah, to be honest, the only thing I was nervous for going on the stage, it was the walk on. I didn't like the walk on because you don't know, with all the lights and all the cameras being on you at once, it just made me like be kind of nervous. But once you get on that stage, I just got to focus on the board. Don't think of anyone behind you. You know, when I played the Premier League at Newcastle, I felt the same. I was nervous going on the stage, but when I got on the stage and I seen hundreds of my friends, you know, you play with them players week in, week out in your local leagues, and you have your family there. So as long as your family's there, you know you're going to be all right, and just play, enjoy it, go up there with a smile on your face, enjoy it, and don't think of anything behind it. That's all I can say. As long as you enjoy it, I'm sure the nerves will quite easily go.
Luke, from your side, any tips to Lucas to keep his nerves?
Yeah, I mean, you know, us players are professionals, so we do manage to mask it in a way that you don't realise if we're feeling nervous. But I can tell you one thing, is we do feel it. You know, obviously I've had a lot of games where I've watched them back, and it's, you know, Luke looks really cool under pressure here. You know, sometimes I don't feel cool. You know, I'm you know, getting worked up and, you know, feeling nervous. It's just natural response your body does in these important games. So, you know, don't think that us professional dart players don't, because we do get nervous. But my way is, you know, like Chris said, when we're up there playing darts now, you know, once you've been up there quite a few times, especially on the big stage, you know, it's second nature to you, and you don't feel as nervous. And, you know, once you're up on the stage, you're just concentrating on the job ahead. You know, if you're going to keep worrying about what's going on behind you or anything else, or, you know, thinking about you on TV, you'll just eat you up, and, you know, you won't be able to play your natural game. So for me, it's just a natural thing, I think, that helps me not get nervous nowadays on the stage. But when you're on a winning double, you know, you can't help feel a little bit nervous every now and then. So it's just a natural thing, and I don't think there's any dart player out there who'll tell you don't get nervous, because no, I don't believe it. We all do.
So Lucas, does that answer satisfy you there, mate?
Yes.
Very good, very good. Lucas, thank you so much for asking a question. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.
Yes, thank you too. Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
So, Chris, as you already mentioned, the Premier League. I mean, the last couple of years, the both of you were involved on at least one night of the Premier League. You were there as the contenders or challengers later on. I mean, those nights, those experiences, I'm sure that must still live on in your mind there, Chris.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, I only got the call. I think I was one of the ones that had the short notice. I think I had the call 3 or 4 days before going actually on stage. So yeah, it was quite a surprise. And doing all the media day at St James's Park, where I've grew up supporting Newcastle, and it was great. There was you got the likes of Steve Harper, who came in, former Newcastle goalkeeper, it was absolutely great, you know, like an idol when you look back at the years following Newcastle. But yeah, once I got up there in front of like my friends and family, I think the whole arena chanting, "He's one of our own, he's one of our own," you know, I'll never ever forget it. Probably the best feeling I've ever witnessed, and there's no more time. You know, I'll never ever witness anything like that again. No matter who I play, where I play, was just had to be their moment. And obviously, I've still watched the video back now of my walk on. You know, it's great. And unfortunately, my second shot at the Premier League was behind closed doors, so I didn't get to witness it again. And hopefully I can pull my finger out and get into the Premier League for real and get that feeling again.
I mean, it's good that you mentioned it, that you're still watching it back, because I thought I want to take us all back to that moment, to literally local hero Chris Dobey doing his walk-on in Newcastle. So, guys, let's have a look at this absolutely incredible
Time
scene.
to meet the first of our 9 contenders. Ladies and gentlemen, from Newcastle, England, would you please welcome a Grand Slam on Players' Championship quarter-finalist. Time to meet and welcome home, Hollywood Chris Dobey!
I mean, that well and truly is next level stuff. And I mean, for our viewers from Germany that maybe don't know, I mean, that song "Local Hero" by Mark Knopfler, that is the song that actually Newcastle United walk out onto the pitch to. So it's got a very special meaning, this song in Newcastle, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, being brought up Newcastle fan and being a season ticket holder for so many years, listening to that week in, week out, you know, even talking about it's got the hair stood up on my arm, you know, and it was a great feeling, and obviously a one I'll never forget.
I mean, Luke, you had your Premier League match in Exeter, so not really a home game for you. So maybe somewhere down the road, maybe a match Premier League in Leeds, maybe.
Yeah, obviously mine wasn't as good as Chris's. You know, if I just watched that back, I got goosebumps because it was so good to watch. But I got a great reception in mine as well. You know, it was they took to me very well, and they adopted me as I was from Exeter. So yeah, it was good. But for me, I think like you just said, for me to get that feeling, obviously there ain't no arenas around where I live. So for me, having walking out in Leeds would just be absolutely unreal, and walking out to marching on together, which I hope I'd get away with, would be a special. It would be a special feeling because as we all know, Leeds fans are the best fans. Sorry, Chris. They are the best fans, and I think they would absolutely love that. And I do get a lot of support from a lot of Leeds fans as well, actually. So that for me, like Chris experienced, that would be my special feeling if I could walk out in Leeds.
I mean, whenever that happens, invite me, Luke. Please invite me.
You'll be there.
I will be there. I'll be singing.
Yeah, you'll be there, front row singing.
So I think we could actually. I mean, we're talking about the challenges in the Premier League. I mean, obviously, we know this year there's not going to be any challenges. Yeah. PDC decided to go back with 10 sort of fixed players to go for. And I wanted to ask our viewers here: will you miss the Premier League challenges? Because there's been a lot of discussion about it. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? I'm curious what our viewers have got to say to that. Would you like to see the challenges coming back at some point? I mean, would you guys say that the experience you made at the Premier League is something that sort of brought you forward as a player, that improved you?
Well, definitely. Oh, go on, who's go first?
Oh, go. You go first.
Basically, in my opinion, I think it definitely helped me because both times beforehand, I hadn't started off well in the year, especially the first time when I drew a going price. I think I won 2 games in 6 tournaments, and my head wasn't in a good place. And then I went off and played a really good game, then won a couple of games at the UK Open. I seemed to kick on from there. And then obviously, last year, the same against Gary. When I'd won, you know, I wasn't really doing anything. And then went there, played. I didn't play my best, but just to win that game, give me that little bit of a boost. And you know, I think it's the right decision this year not to have the challengers, because I don't think it has the kind of same concept if you're not within crowds. So, you know, I think it would have been pointless to have a challengers without a crowd. But for me, I think there's definitely a place for it somewhere. Maybe, you know, have a second division league, you know, one game a night and over 15 nights, you know, you could have a 6-person league, everyone playing each other once. And, you know, the winner of that could sort of get a place in the Premier League the year after. I think there's definitely something for the PDC to look at, because there's a lot of players that are just on the cusp of the Premier League, young players especially. And they, you know, they just don't get that major win or something that really holds them back, because we all know there's a lot of young players or older players out there that could be in the Premier League. They don't do the right things at the right time to allow themselves to get in. So I think, you know, I think there's something there available for the PDC to get a second league or something along them lines, and, you know, carry on with this challenger aspect, because I think it worked well. I just don't think it worked as well with, you know, giving points to the players that play in different players, because, you know, I don't think it was fair in a way, but for them. But, you know, I think there's definitely a place in it.
So before we listen to Chris's answer, we're going to have a look at what our viewers said, and I think they totally agree with you. 82% of our viewers say they are going to miss the Premier League challenges and would like to see them back at some point. So, Chris, what was your point on your stand on that?
Obviously, it was nice to be a part of it and all that, but like Luke said, we're no fans. It just wouldn't be the same. And obviously, touching on before, there's so many different major winners. They all deserve a place in the Premier League, you know. And even Johnny, before he won the Masters, I think he was probably top 2 on the list, who was on the cusp of the Premier League anyway. And then he went and won the Masters, which got him in a full time. So yeah, there was too many major winners to even think about having the contenders or challengers. So yeah, it is going to be a miss, but you never know. In a year or two, they could bring it back, and hopefully, like I said, if I pull my finger out, I could be in there full time and not just as a challenger.
Maybe we're going to have a proper Premier League and go up to 20 participants, like we have in football. Because as you said, there are like so many players that would deserve a shot, that would deserve to be in there. So I think it is about time that we get another one of our viewers into the discussion to ask a question, and we're going to have Fabio in here. Fabio, who earlier gave Chris a bit of support there and said, away the lad. And as Chris is surrounded by 2 Leeds United supporters here, I think he should get a bit of support. So let's see. Hi there.
Don't bring Dave Allen on.
Good evening.
Hi there, Fabio. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Doing cracking, mate. So what's your question to Luke or to Chris?
My question is for Chris, as I'm a big fan of him and his throw, actually. I would like to know if it's natural, or did you change a lot of things over the couple of years since back in the days when you started playing darts, or is it kind of natural throw?
It's just a natural throw. I've always threw like that. It's only the past year and a bit that I've actually changed the stance. I throw with my foot like straight to the hockey now, and instead of like halfway. So that's the only change that I've had in my throw in the past year and a bit. So yeah, it's all a natural throw, and I think. Well, I started thinking about it about 4 or 5 years ago when I was at the start of my tour card. I think it was just there's not a lot can go wrong with the throw, so I'm happy with everything about the throw. It was just the stance. If I can get the stance right, and I think I'm just about there now, and hopefully just keep coming through, and hopefully get some results.
Very interesting. Thanks a lot, mate.
Yes, Fabio.
Chris, I really think you've got a massive fan there in Fabio, because I've just seen before I got him into the discussion, he wrote into the chat here, I would love to ask PDC's Alan Shearer a question if there's time later in the show.
Of course, it's Chris.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Shearer.
That's Callum Ridds.
Don't think so.
So Fabio, thank you very much for a great question, and I'm sure Chris is very, very happy to have such a brilliant supporter in you there.
I really enjoyed it, and have a nice time.
Thanks a lot, Fabio. Enjoy the rest of the show, pal. Bye-bye.
Cheers, man.
So, I mean, as we already spoke about football so much, we might as well make this an official point of the discussion now. I mean,
do we have to?
Yes.
Look at Luke going, yes, we have to talk football. I mean, Chris, you know, as I just said, you know, like Luke, I support Leeds United, but I have what can be described as a massive soft spot for Newcastle United, because as you can see here, I've been there a couple of years ago. Is me and Sir Bobby there, so I find the club fantastic, and it's actually a bit of a shame to see what's going on there. It is really difficult. I mean, you are right now in, I think, is it 17th position at 2 points above the relegation zone, but with a game in hand. But yet it's dire, really.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Obviously, everybody says the same. You know, we just need a change at the top. Obviously, Mike Ashley was willing to sell up, and the Premier League didn't come to terms with it. You know, I didn't think they wanted us challenging the big boys at the top, but nah, it's not looking good for us. I think we've got Spurs. Then I think it's a must-win against Burnley. Our next 2 games before we've got 5 solid games on the bounce, and I think they've came out and said he's going to stick by Steve Bruce, which I think is the wrong decision. Just what can they say? You know, it's disappointing, but no matter what, I'll always stick by them and support them. You know, it's not nice to see, especially when Leeds are above us. You know, and but nah, we might have a derby game to play next year.
Well, you know, I mean, Luke, completely a different situation from your side, from our side. I mean, it's been terrible for so many years. I mean, I started supporting Leeds in 2000, and it's been downhill very rapidly after that. I mean, down to the League One, you know, and then gradually back up, and then thank God we found our savior in Marcelo Bielsa, and now it's actually really looking fine. So you must enjoy football a lot at the minute.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it at the moment. But when my first sort of memories of, you know, obviously I've supported Leeds my whole life. My first sort of memories are, you know, I don't know if you know the game, you probably will, the 4-3 against Liverpool, when Mark Viduka scored them all. So yeah, that was my last sort of, that's my first sort of real memories. And you know, I didn't get long before we were down straight away to the Championship, and you know, then things got worse back to League One, and then we had a 10 or 15 point deduction in League One, and you know, then you're looking like, oh dear, you know, we could be League Two, and you know, imagine, you know, Leeds United being League Two, it just wouldn't sound right. And you know, it took us a long time to get back to the Premier League. I think it took us too long. You know, it wasn't just about the team; it was more about the chairman that we had at the time, the managers we were picking, and stuff like that. You know, we wasn't picking the right players. We weren't spending money, and we all know if you don't spend money, you know, you ain't going to progress. It's hard to find them free players that are gems, and we just didn't have none of that, and we were picking players that wouldn't really make League One teams. You know, I think our saviour is in, you know, Andrea Radrizzini and Marcelo Bielsa. I think if it weren't for them two, probably still would be in the Championship. And it's a good feeling now to finally sort of cement our place in the Premier League like we have. You know, I think we've had a lot of games this year we probably should have won, that we've drawn or lost. But you know, this is one of them things where it's just going to take time. We have to add players next year. We need to cement ourselves in the Premier League and be a top 10 team, which I think we can be. And this season has been an eye opener. It's nice to see us back in the Premier League, though.
That is for sure. I mean, for our viewers that have not yet heard of Marcelo Bielsa, I mean, there might be a couple. Actually, got this scene here from his days at Olympique Marseille in France, which is it's lovely.
As Bielsa resumes his position on the water cooler and cools himself with the coffee that he placed down there before him.
I mean, the guy is incredible. I mean, he's moved up the ranks. I mean, he doesn't have to sit on a box anymore. He's now got his bucket at Ellen Road. But it's such a weird match. But it's a match made in heaven, really. This weird Argentinian coming to a working club like Leeds United and just completely turning everything around.
Yeah, I think Leeds have always been known as, you know, I wouldn't say a dirty team, but, you know, a team that likes to challenge some sort of dangerous challenges and stuff. And I think what he's come in and done is brought a bit of discipline to the team. You know, I think we have got some fantastic players, but with all due respect to them all, except for a couple, you know, I think he's turned decent players into world-class players. You know, we're pretty much a team full of championship players from, you know, most of them have not really ever played Premier League football in our team. And brought them up, you know, and they've shown their worth. And, you know, I think Calvin Phillips is definitely one of them players that, you know, I think if it weren't for Marcelo Bielsa, you know, he would be a great player, but he wouldn't be world class. And there's a lot of players in our team like that. And, you know, I think he's brought in a discipline and an attitude that this, you know, you either work hard for the team or you find yourself out of it. And I think that's what's been important, you know, for us as a whole unit team. And we work together. And it, like you see, what I see is the what's the word? You know, the unity together. They all love each other. They all, you know, work hard as a team, and there's no singular players in the team. They all work as hard on that pitch as one another. And, you know, I think he's come in and created what we have today. And, you know, he's one of them managers where I don't think you'll ever want to see him go. And I think, you know, the time will come in the next few years. Hopefully it doesn't, but, you know, he's going to leave a good foundation. And I hope that the chairman and that pick up, you know, and pick the right manager to follow him, because, you know, it's going to be a hard job to follow after what he's done in the last 3 years.
I wouldn't want to be in that position. I can tell you that. I mean, Chris, I sort of find the Marcelo Bielsa one a bit similar to when Rafa Benitez actually came to Newcastle a couple of years ago, and he probably made the whole club, the whole team, like better than they were, and then they sort of somehow blew that as well. It's like and you know, made him go away some sort of.
Yeah, it's just typical Newcastle. That when Rafa came, I couldn't believe it. You know, all the major trophies he's won in his time at Liverpool, Chelsea, was it Real Madrid? You know, it was just to have him there. It was like massive, and it's what we needed. Obviously, going into the Championship, he stayed with us. He won the Championship straight away and come back up. And all he wanted was more, like a little bit more money. You know, they wouldn't give him it, so he left. Fair play, and they give the money straight to Steve Bruce. You know, when he left. So that's what I didn't understand. And nobody wanted Steve Bruce there. No, not even though he's a Geordie through and through. You know, it was just one of those things. Rafa was like God in just short space of time at Newcastle, and the fans took them so quickly. And what he'd done was magnificent. And yeah, he's a big miss to us, especially like this time of the year. I think he could have turned it around, no problem at all.
I think he did what Marcelo Bielsa did, and that was understand the fans. You know, I think Rafa did, and then the fans took to him, didn't they? And, you know, when you've got a manager like that, you should give them everything they want, because there would be no way you'd be in this situation right now if you still had him. No way.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree.
That's why a chairman is the most important thing, to have a good chairman.
Yeah. We haven't had that for a long time.
No.
Yeah, but
we've had many years of not them good as well, so we've got a good one afterwards.
I mean, that is that never-ending saga at Newcastle United with Mike Ashley, and then they come up with news again that he's going to sell up, and then in the end, it's not happening. Honestly, whenever I read that Mike Ashley is going to sell Newcastle United, I don't believe it anymore. I don't think he actually wants to sell.
I just flick through where, you know, at certain times of the year you think, oh, it's going to come out in the next few weeks that Mike Ashley is going to sell up, but nah, we've heard it too many times now. It's just wanting to look over the top at now. And hey, we've got to do with the squad we've got. We've got to deal with it, you know. And if he's going to stick by Steve Bruce, then so be it. You've just got to, like I said before, you got to plod on. And if we go down, then they've got to act quick. You know, they've got to start preparing themselves before they go down. They can't just like keep playing like this. Going to with Sheffield United, you know, they hadn't won a game all season. They were struggling, and we go down to Bramall Lane and we'll play 5 at the back of a team that haven't scored many goals at all, you know, and that's just the kind of football Steve Bruce plays, and it's just not Newcastle. We had it with Sam Allardyce when he was at Newcastle, going for the long ball. It just didn't work, and I think Steve Bruce is coming and just defending all the time. You know, you're going to places trying to get a point, and it just doesn't work. You've got to play football as well as trying to defend, you know, and it's just not for Newcastle. And hopefully they get the change, and we'll get a big name in the likes of Rafa. It would be great if he came back. I don't think he's at the Chinese team anymore. I'm not 100%, but yeah, if he came back, we'll be delighted. No matter if we get relegated or not, I think he would do the job and bring in the players that he needs to get us back up there.
One thing is for sure, you have to compete, and compete is what we're going to do. And Chris, you are going to compete against Luke Humphries in what I've called a Hollywood emoji quiz. What we're going to do is the following. Let me show you here. I'm going to share my screen with you. So we've got here 10 movies that we're looking for, and 10 movies displayed by emojis. And so the two of you will compete against each other here. And
I'm not good at these.
Maybe if you need,
I'm not either.
We won't be stuck on the first one for half an hour.
No, you can start at, I don't know, if you want to, you can start at number 5 or wherever you want to start. So that is no problem actually. So and if you want to as well later on, we can maybe get 1 or 2 of our viewers involved as well that might want to help you out if they can. So Chris, as you are lower in the table than Leeds United, you can go first.
Right. Edward Scissorhands, number 10.
Here we go. That's a good start for the Geordie lad. There we go.
How well, lad.
So now it's Luke's turn.
Have I won? Game over.
Is it bad to say that I ain't got a clue?
I just took a guess.
Is number 2 Scream?
Oh
no, I know what it is. Psycho, or is it Psycho?
Well, what are you going for? Yeah, I'm going to give
Scream.
you.
Psycho.
Yes, without any help, Luke Humphries knew that it was Psycho indeed.
I did say it before you said yes.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
I got another one.
Someone's coming up there. People's putting the answers in.
People are putting their hands up. They want to help you. If you need help anyway. Do you think that you're close to a solution somewhere?
Two is number 4. Are these all films, by the way?
Are they all what?
Films or?
Yeah, they're all films, all movies. Yeah.
I thought you said films.
No. I was going to say 2.5 Men for one, but it's not a film or a movie.
That's right. So is there another famous movie where there's a child and 2 maybe not so nice men and a house involved?
Home Alone.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Another one for Chris Dobey. Now, Luke, I think you said earlier that you know another one. Do you?
Yeah, I think I'm in number 3 because it's obvious. It's obvious, isn't it? Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, there we go. It is obvious. I didn't choose very, very difficult ones there.
Well, I can't think of. Oh, I got another one as well. Oh, I don't know.
Is number 5 Free Willy?
Here we go.
That's the one I had. Yeah.
Chris Dobey on a roll.
Hold on.
Very much staying towards the left side here, guys. As well.
You know what? I've just thought one, and then someone's just come up with it on the screen.
What about number 8? Is that Lord of the Rings?
There we go. Very good.
And
That's the Lord of the Rings.
Number 7, Planet of the Apes.
That is very, very correct as well. You see, guys, you got this now. You got the.
Is the first one Castaway?
No, it's not Castaway.
Oh,
it's not Castaway. Should we actually? I could be mean and could put one of these in here. Like.
Oh no! Oh, I'm not playing. I can't get number 6. What's number 6?
So maybe we're gonna get someone involved from our viewers that might just be able to help you out. So.
Because someone's just put up
on number 9.
Yeah.
Aye.
King's
Cross number 9.
You know number 9?
Yeah,
no,
the King's Speech.
Someone's just put on the King's Speech there, so.
Someone special just helped.
Have they?
Yeah. Right. Nobody tell number 6. It's a one there.
Yeah, no one. Do you watch? Someone did it on purpose. Number 6.
I'm trying to get number 1, you know.
We're gonna get someone involved from the crowd.
I know number 1. Life of Pi.
There we go. Should we change that from a cross into a little friendly greenish?
What was it?
Life of Pi.
It's Life of Pi.
Life of Pi.
I forgot number 9 as well. Number 9.
So now maybe we'll get someone involved.
The King's Speech, number 9.
How didn't I get that?
Are you still working against each other with each other? Who got that right? Was it you?
I said it
The
first.
King's Speech.
Steward Inquiry. I said that first.
Blood Diamond number 6.
So in the end, guys, you got there and you got them all. I actually lost track of the score there.
I got number 6.
I got number 9 then. That's 5-all.
All right then. Let's have it fair. Let's have a fair draw.
Let's have a decider with nobody.
Yeah.
You know, as I think an American football coach once said, you know, if it doesn't matter who wins, why do they keep score? Actually.
Yeah.
So now that everyone in the crowd can actually relax again, because we're not going to ask you for correct answers on our quiz. You can raise your hands now again if you want to ask a question to Luke or to Chris. Actually, Chris, I've had a question sent in on Instagram by a PDC Europe fan who put it very profoundly, and he asked, Chris, why the hell Hollywood?
It was just a random joke. One of our friends who I play darts for at a local club. It's the Super League team, and he does quite a lot for us. And all of a sudden, I rock up and play in my shorts, flip-flops, peak cap, you know, just going in wearing whatever I want just because I can, you know, on a Super League night. And he said, do you think you're some kind of Hollywood superstar doing what you want, doing this, doing that? And Hollywood, it just seemed to stick from there, you know. Everywhere I went, someone would always shout, oh, Hollywood, Hollywood. And I'm thinking, how do they even know? I don't even know who they are, you know. And it's just one of those that stuck, and it was kind of different. That's the only thing, the only reason I stuck with it, because it was different to quite a lot of the nicknames out there. And yeah, it's just took off from a joke, and that's all I can say.
So I mean, as we're speaking about names, Luke, is it actually true? I mean, as we mentioned earlier, you're not from Leeds. You weren't born there, and you don't live there. Yet you're a Leeds United supporter. So that is because of your dad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is he from up north, or where does he come from?
No, he comes from the same place as me, Newbury. The story goes is it was I can't remember what the date was. The 1976 FA Cup final, I think it might have been, or 1978 FA Cup final between Arsenal and Leeds. And my granddad was a Tottenham supporter. Well, he still is. And he didn't
Isn't
want
that
to
the
support
centenary one in 72? I think
it might have been 72. I can't even. I wasn't born, so I ain't got a clue.
Never
But I
mind.
remember us winning an FA Cup in the 70s anyway, and it was Arsenal versus Leeds. And my uncle was older, so he got to pick out of the two because it was the FA Cup final, pick one. And he picked Arsenal, so obviously my dad got left with Leeds. And they won that FA Cup final, I believe, 1-0. And then ever since then, it's been downhill. So, no, I'm joking. We won a league. We won a league title, weren't we? So, I'm happy with who I got, but that was the reason he got Leeds, and that's how I got Leeds. You always follow your dad's team, don't you?
And is the story about your first name true about Luke?
Yeah. So originally my name was going to be Liam, and then on the news they see it. Someone called their son Luke after Leeds United Kings of Europe, and obviously my dad see that, got excited and thought that's going to be my son's name. So yeah, it could have been a different scenario. It could have been Liam, but I'm a Luke, and it's a strange way for someone to pick a name, but I'll take it.
Well, it's a good name, and the story behind it is certainly a good one.
Most names don't have a story behind it, so mine has. It's different.
That's true. I mean, if you were born today, your name might be Marcelo. You never know.
Yeah, I might name my son that.
Yes, good one. Good one. Is that the next bet we've got going on there next to the Bamford shirt?
Oh, I don't know about that. 6 more goals though. 6 more goals.
6 more goals, and we got to spend. We got to spend big. So I think towards the end of the show is about that time that we get maybe 1 or 2 more of our viewers involved, and we've got Fabian here. Fabian
Shaw.
Hi there, Fabian. How are you doing, pal? All good?
Yes. Könnte ich meine Frage auch auf Deutsch stellen? Das wäre
aber na klar. Geht's dir gut, mein Freund? Alles gut bei dir?
Ja, und euch?
Alles wunderbar. Von wo schaust du zu heute Abend?
Ich schaue von der Nähe von Würzburg zu. Das ist in Bayern.
Ja, wunderbar, wunderbar. Was ist denn deine Frage? Dann übersetze ich die gern.
Ich habe eigentlich 2 Fragen, aber ich einige mich jetzt auf die eine. Meine Frage ist, weil jeder fängt ja mal klein an, und die Frage geht an beide. Wie ist es, so gegen sein Idol oder gegen so einen großen Spieler zu spielen, als noch kleiner Dartspieler, also zum Beispiel früher noch Phil Taylor oder Barnefeld? Wie ist das Gefühl, gegen zum Beispiel Idole zu spielen, wenn man noch ganz klein ist, und wenn man gerade ganz ich bin gerade irgendwie sehr aufgeregt.
Mach dir keinen Stress, Fabian. Alles gut. Wir haben die Frage auch verstanden. Ich übersetze jetzt, und dann soll ich dir die Antwort auch übersetzen, oder verstehst du es auf Englisch?
Ja, ein bisschen nur.
Ich fasse danach noch ein bisschen zusammen. Ich frage jetzt erstmal, und dann gucken wir mal, was die 2 sagen. So guys, what Fabian wants to know is, I mean, obviously when you start playing, first question sort of, did you have an idol back then? Was there a player that you idolized, and what was it like for you when you played that player for the first time?
Yeah, my idol was Steve Beaton. Obviously, the curly hair, watching on the TV. I think it was between Dennis Priestley and Steve Beaton. They were the 2 that I used to watch the most, And when I got onto the tour and you're playing in the room with Steve Beaton, it was a massive thing, and I've became such good friends with Steve of late. And I managed to play Steve on the World Championship stage a few years back as well, and got the win. And just playing the idol, it's an amazing feeling, and obviously to get the win as well was something special, and it's up there in the memory bank, and never ever forget that.
I'll just quickly translate Chris's answer before Luke gives his answer. Also Fabian, für Chris war das immer Steve Beaton, den er sehr, sehr gut fand, Steve Beaton und Dennis Priestley, und sagte, da war schon sehr, sehr, sehr nervös, als er das erste Mal mit Steve Beaton in einem Raum gespielt hat, aber sagte, es ist auch schön, dass die beiden jetzt auch echt gute Kumpels geworden sind über die letzten Jahre, und er hat gegen Steve auch schon bei der WM gespielt und gegen Steve gewonnen. Also das sind natürlich dann sehr, sehr große Momente für ihn gewesen. So Luke, who is it from your side?
It's Dobey. No, my idol was, and I never got to play him actually, was Ronnie Baxter. I think the good thing about it was my first year was his last year, so I at least got to experience 1 year on the same tour as my idol, which was Ronnie Baxter. He really, I don't know what it was about him. He was just his happy-go-lucky character. He's always smiling and stuff like. It just took to me, and I really liked him. But I'd say if I was to pick one that I was able to play against, would be Adrian Lewis. Yeah, he was probably my second favourite idol in darts, and I've played him. I think I've played him 3 times, and he's averaged over 100 every time. So he's not my idol anymore. But but no, it is a great feeling, like Chris says, when you play your idol. It's a strange feeling because you feel like you don't want to beat him in a way.
Yeah.
You feel like you don't want to beat him, and I haven't. So I think that's my next goal, to beat Adrian Lewis.
Also Fabian, bei Luke ist es so, dass es sein Idol war immer Ronnie Baxter, den er immer sehr gut. Kennst du Ronnie Baxter eigentlich noch? Weil du klingst sehr jung.
Hört ihr mich? Weil
Ja, wir hören dich.
Ronnie Baxter, ja, ich bin auch noch eigentlich sehr jung, aber ich kenne mich dafür eigentlich schon gut aus. Also bei Chris Dobey habe ich Steve Beaton, das habe ich eigentlich schon gut verstanden, weil ich habe die Curly Hair verstanden.
He got the curly hair one. Genau. Und bei Luke hast du es auch verstanden?
Was Ronnie Baxter, aber den Rest habe ich nicht so. Das ist so Englisch-Dialekt, das ist immer ganz schwierig für
ja, das verstehe ich gut. Der andere war Adrian Lewis, den er immer sehr, sehr gut fand. Und dann gegen Adrian Lewis hat er dann auch gespielt und bisher noch nie gewonnen. Und sagte, und das ist sein nächstes Ziel, dass er jetzt sein Idol dann auch endlich mal besiegt.
Okay, ja.
Okay.
Schön.
Fabian, vielen, vielen Dank für deine Frage. Schön, dass du heute Abend dabei warst. Und schönen Abend dir noch.
Tschüss.
Mach's gut.
Tschüss.
Ciao. He got the curly hair, so the most important part he got. So I think we're gonna have another one. It's 1 minute past 8 in England and 1 minute past 9 in Germany, but we're gonna have another one, and
That's
we
fine.
will go for Süß Matthias. Süß Matthias, here we go.
Nice
What a
name.
name! What a name, Zeus. Hey, I'm gonna call my kid Zeus. The Greek goddess.
I think actually it might be the surname.
That should be Steve Beaton's.
Greek god.
Greek god. Zeus, the Greek god.
There we go. So now I think, Matthias, we can hear you as well. Hi, Matthias.
Hello, everybody. I have one question to Luke.
All right.
Luke, why do you use different points?
How did I know that was coming? The answer to that is I don't purposely use different points. The third point in the dart, it doesn't stay in very well. And I've tried every point that you possibly can, and it just don't stay in. So that was the only point that would stay in there. And funnily enough, and I was playing with them about 3 months before I became a professional. And it's one of the things I didn't think that needed to be changed if it weren't broken, and I'll continue to keep it in there until I obviously find a way that I have to change or something like that. But there is no reason as to why it's in there. It's just, well, there is a reason. The reason is that I couldn't get another point in there to stick in there, to stay in there.
So just practical reasons there, basically.
Yeah.
So Matthias, thank you very much for the question. Thanks a lot that you joined us tonight, and all the best. Stay safe.
Thank you. Good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, and as it is already 3 minutes past 9 in Germany, that means that our 1 hour of the Not So Late Night Darts show powered by HYLO is already up. We're already through. Guys, I want to thank you so much that you joined us tonight, Chris and Luke. It's been
no problem.
It's been great
No
fun.
problem, mate.
Thanks a lot for agreeing to this. And obviously, thank you very much to each and every one of our viewers that was here tonight, that asked questions, that participated, that gave the guys a few clues when they didn't know which movies we were showing.
I would have got there in the end.
Yeah. We'd still be there 2 hours later.
Well, maybe we've got to do that in the next episode. Go overtime, basically. Go overtime.
I reckon you could create a show here.
maybe we could. Maybe we could. The same group of people every time. It's always you. Always 10 different movies.
I'll give you one clue. Don't invite Chizzy or Richard North. You'll be here all week.
No, do, because that'd be the funniest 3 hours of my life.
So as we already know that Luke would come watch. So now anyway,
You got one viewer anyway.
To our viewers, thank you so much that you've been with us tonight. Thanks a lot for supporting the show. Keep your eyes peeled on the PDC Europe social media pages, where we're going to announce who is going to join us in 2 weeks' time for the next episode of the Not So Late Night Darts Show by HYLO. If you want, leave us a like on Facebook, on Instagram, and you can also leave us a like on our YouTube channel, where we are going to upload this episode on Thursday. Thanks a lot for being here. Thanks again to Luke and Chris. It's been great fun with you guys.
Anytime, man.
And I hope to see you soon, hopefully in person somewhere.
Yeah,
with loads of fans in the crowd.
Fingers crossed, mate.
Guys, thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Take care.
No worries. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers, man. Cheers, Phil.